we start to leave zone 3, okay, and get into zone 4, this is where we switch energy systems. So we go from our aerobic energy system into our anaerobic energy system. So we are no longer dependent upon oxygen for energy, okay? We are now pulling on an additional energy source, okay? Our glycolytic system. So we're using glycogen, muscle glycogen, to help us perform in this next heart rate zone, okay? So the problem now in zone 4, it's not sustainable, okay? Why is zone 4 not sustainable? Fatigue. Yeah. Why does fatigue kick in? Yeah. Exactly. So in zone 1 to 3, we can do what for energy? Breathe. So we can breathe for energy, right? That's how we're getting our oxygen in. Our ATP cells are able to replenish themselves, and we're able to continuously reproduce energy in our body. It is in theory a never-ending energy source, okay? The problem is when we go into the next zone, we're dependent on our glycolytic system. So glycogen in our muscles and in our blood, okay, and in our liver is what we use here as an energy source. We stay in this zone, glycogen starts to get depleted, we eventually run out of energy, okay? So we have to go back to zone 3 at some stage. It is not a never-ending zone that we can stay in terms of our work capacity. And then as we get to zone 5, same thing. It's an even higher output than zone 4. This is where we're near our maximal ability to work, and zone 5 is even shorter again in terms of our ability to stay in that zone and perform. We could probably get a little bit more than 10 seconds, but zone 5 is like, it is very, very hard. It is really maximal effort stuff, okay? Well, so heart rate is a little bit different. So when we're pushing pins yesterday, yeah, we're using our ATP system, so our maximal effort stuff to do that. That is what the energy system that we're using. But we perhaps may be able to stay at a zone 5 for slightly longer than 10 seconds, okay, in terms of staying there and working, yeah? Because what will happen is we would push our heart rate up. Our heart rate would continue to stay high and maximally elevated, even though our output would start to fall a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Okay? Yeah.
When I was reading that, I read something about lactic I think, yeah, something about lactose, like the burn inside, lactose, lactation, whatever.
Yeah.
Explain me to that.
Yeah, so lactic acid. So as we start to enter, okay, so we produce lactic acid all of the time, okay? When we come out of, we're even producing some degree of lactic acid now. When we get into zone 2, produce a little bit more. When we get into zone 3, we're producing a considerable amount. When we get into zone 5, we're producing a huge amount. So lactic acid is a byproduct that we can use for energy. So we can break down lactic acid, we can recycle it in our bodies, and we can utilize it as an energy source. But what happens is, when work starts to go through the levels and getting incrementally harder, we start to produce an excessive amount of lactic acid in our body. We can't recycle it anymore because too much of it builds up, okay? And it sits in the muscle. And then that's when we talk about it comes in and it shuts down the muscle's ability to function. You start to get that cramp feeling, that swollen feeling, that fatigue feeling. That's a buildup of lactic acid. And what's happening is our body's ability to recycle lactic acid as an energy resource is failing. Okay? Now, great question. One of the things that we should be trying to do with clients is push what's called OBLA, onset of blood lactate. Okay? So when I work with my clients, with my athletes, I'll bring them in, I'll do a Cooper test, okay? And they'll come out with a figure, okay? And that figure on the Cooper test is predominantly predicted by were producing so much lactate that it slowed them down or stopped them going at a very high pace. Okay, I will do 6 to 8 weeks of conditioning with them where I'll improve obla, so I'll push their obla further out the inflection point, so lactate starts to kick in later than it would. Okay, I'll put them back on that, they'll get a better time, so I've improved their obla essentially. Yeah, so you're teaching the body to utilize lactic acid as an energy source better. Okay, break it down, utilize it as an energy source. Okay, so it's one of the things from a muscle physiology standpoint that we should understand, that we're trying to achieve when we're doing conditioning with people, is push oblat further out the inflection point, so it happens at a later stage of conditioning. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay.
Pushing close to fatigue.
Yeah, so their fatigue barrier gets further away from them, or they get better at sustaining work for a longer period of time. They don't fatigue as quick, because what's happening at a cellular level is their ability to utilize lactate. So obla is getting pushed out further. Yep. Lactate is not making its way into the blood. Yeah.
Can I just say something that happened to me just in November? So I was doing these races, and in the end it took me 1 hour and 37 minutes to finish the race. But early on in the race, my resting heart rate is 48 to 50. My maximum is normally about 170 when I'm really working hard. But anyway, early on in the race, I was pushing a sled, very heavy sled. And when I looked at my stats afterwards, now when I went to run after the sled, I was like rubber.
Yeah.
And that was really early. And I was just destroyed for the whole race after the sled. When I checked my watch, my heart rate went to 204 for a very short period of time, because it took so much effort to move the sled. But from that time, for the next hour and 10 minutes, I was just in pain, just in a world of pain the whole way. So what kind of happened to me?
Couple of things are going on there. Every energy system is getting fried. Okay, so your ability to produce maximal force, so your ATP system, is getting drained. Okay, your nervous system has probably never been exposed to that before. Would you say? Yeah. Okay. So that's the first time the nervous system has been exposed to that. So you've gone into nervous system shock. Okay. So the signaling back to the muscle is very fatigued. Then you're probably, how long were you pushing the sled for?
Eternity.
It felt like 4.5 minutes.
Okay, so you've absolutely drained your glycolytic system, and now you're relying on your oxidative or your aerobic system to help you through that. So you've just basically, your body just can't replenish energy fast enough for all of those energy systems. You've not conditioned enough for us. You can't replenish the systems quick enough, and now you can't recover from it. So now that all the additional work that you're going to do for the next hour is just, you're living in a world of pain doing it.
I think if my brother said to me, "Do you know how old you are?" Thanks.
But on that point, do you see the importance of, so even if we work with weekend warriors, see the importance of trying to structure training so we're exposing them to the demands of what they're going to be exposed to outside of what we do? Even with Gen Pop people, you've got to think, what are they doing out here outside of the gym? How do we make training all encompassing so that we're developing the whole ecosystem for the person? Yeah, that's essentially why people go to the gym, is to get stronger, so they can challenge tasks outside of the gym. Yeah.
Thanks.
Any other questions? No? We're good? So we're going to get onto systems this is literally the next thing that we're going to get onto. So energy systems. We have 3 of them. Okay, so the first energy system that we have is our ATP-CP system. Okay, so that's our adenosine triphosphate creatine phosphate system. Okay, and what happens is, our adenosine triphosphate is our energy molecule that gets broken down. Then our creatine phosphate helps rebuild that molecule up. Okay, this system is purely anaerobic, does not require any energy to perform. It is maximal effort in terms of intent. Okay, and if you think about the type of exercises that you would utilize in this system, it's our max effort lifts. So our 1 to 3, our 1 to 5 RM strength work, any type of explosive movements, jumping, power cleans, bounding, hopping, skipping, any type of sprinting, anything explosive, maximal effort, that's what this system taps into, okay? So the first set of coaches are going to stay on the pieces of cross-training equipment. They're going to do 10 seconds on, 50 seconds off. They're going to repeat that 3 or 4 times. I'll see how we're getting on. Then you guys get off, the next set of coaches get on, and you do it, okay? So who's on this one here? Okay, you're on this one here. Okay, ready? Okay, going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Go, hard as we can, hard as we can. Hard as we can, keep going, hard, 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 hard. 5 seconds, hard, hard, hard. Keep going. Time, okay. We're active now for another 40, no, let that, keep going. Okay, keep going, we're active now for another 40 seconds. Yeah, just go completely, okay. Going in 20 seconds. Okay, going in 3, 2, 1, go. Last 10 seconds. Go, 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 go. As much effort. Good. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Time. Okay, good. Excellent. Okay. The other set of coaches. Wait.
Yeah, I started to feel tired in the third, fourth, fifth time. Yeah.
Okay. So what you'll find is if this type of training, so your ATP training, okay, is people have to be strong enough to do this type of training, okay? If you put someone that is not strong enough, because there's a lot of, think about the amount of force and output you have to apply. It's maximal effort stuff. You have to be strong enough to perform the task at hand to develop the energy system. If you're not strong enough to push yourself maximally, okay, you won't get the adaptation of enhancing your ATP system here, okay? You just won't, which is your A-Lactate system. You won't get an A-Lactate adaptation, okay? So you have to be strong enough. The other thing as well is there has to be adequate time between the reps for you to recover, okay? So if you are going to do this type of training with someone, when you start to see a drop off in performance, that means you're no longer training that energy system. You're actually gone into the next energy system. So that's our A-Lactate. Our ATP system is our A-Lactate. You've actually gone into your lactate system now, okay?